I believe with my whole entire heart that the coolest, most tasteful, rad stuff is not acquired with a bunch of money. The coolest clothes are thrifted. The best bands are the ones your friends haven't heard of yet. Restaurants are cooler before they blow up on Instagram. And cool neighborhoods are cheaper and cooler when they're still a little rough around the edges, when the rich people are too scared to let their kids live there. Now, I'm not saying that once something gets popular, it becomes uncool. I love a lot of very popular stuff, but it does become a little less special and often a lot more expensive. Cars are the exact same way, but you can bypass a lack of funds if you know what you're looking for. Now, I'm not saying every car on this list is a future classic. In fact, most of them are definitely not going to be worth a bunch of money, ever. What I am saying is that every car in this video is pretty cheap. They're all fun to drive. Most of them get pretty good gas mileage. And every single one has a certain X factor, a certain je ne sais quoi, a special something that makes them unique, desirable, and fun to talk about. They're fun to drive now. And who knows, maybe some of these uncut gems will be the next big craze, and if that happens, you'll be able to tell everyone you bought yours in 2026 before they got expensive. Starting with Mercedes ML SUVs. This car makes me want to get a puffer jacket and a pair of Timbs. Luxury SUVs from the late 90s and early 2000s are the best bang for your buck value in the entire automotive world, and I won't budge on that. Back in the day, luxury car companies had a hunch this new SUV market was going to be a big deal, but they'd never sold one, so they didn't have real consumer data on what people wanted to use them for. Did buyers want comfort, on-road manners, or off-road capability? They had no idea. So these early SUVs from Mercedes, BMW, Audi, and Porsche ended up being kind of good at everything. We bought a first-generation Cayenne and did a video putting some thoughtful mods on it to highlight and take advantage of its off-road capability. And let me tell you, that thing bangs. I'm actually jealous that Zach gets to drive it every day. Since we made that video, I've been casually looking for something with similar potential, but different, because I think it'd be cute but lame if Zach and I drove the exact same car. And the first-generation Mercedes ML is the answer. This thing's got a ton of what makes the Cayenne so great. You can get it with a V6, you can get it with a V8. They look amazing, and I don't think they'll ever go out of style. They have great interiors, and if you find one with the off-road package, it came with real locking differentials and a 2-speed transfer case with a low-range gear, meaning it could climb up all kinds of stuff. The early ones are even body-on-frame construction. It's basically a real truck with a Mercedes badge, literally a budget G-Wagon. If I were to get one, which I might, I'd take my time and find a nice ML 500, because I think it'd be worth the extra money to get the V8. It's literally the same engine that comes in a G-Wagon. The biggest difference is you can find these for under $10,000 pretty much every day of the week. Cayennes are an amazing bargain. MLs are even more of a hack because way fewer people seem to know about them. Now, if I didn't want to go off-road and just wanted a really nice daily driver for the street, I'd try to find an ML55 AMG. These rarely came with the off-road package. Might not even be available with it at all, but they more than make up for it with big fender flares and 350 horsepower. Nerd. First-generation Toyota Matrix XRS, or Pontiac Vibe GT. There are going to be about 12 dudes out there absolutely ecstatic that we decided to include a Toyota Matrix in this video. Hi guys. Toyota has a long history of taking normal commuter cars and making cool versions of them. Corolla GTS, Corolla GR. But there's a weird-shaped wagon thing from the early 2000s that a lot of people don't know about. The Toyota Matrix XRS, which apparently stands for Extreme Rally Sport. Extreme with an X, like a sour candy or a Capri Sun flavor. The Toyota Matrix XRS is basically Toyota taking a normal practical hatchback and asking, what if we made it kind of spicy? The first generation is the one you want because it's got the 2ZZ-GE engine, an aluminum block, dual overhead cam, 4-cylinder with 16 valves and Toyota's VVTL-I system, which basically gives the motor a second, more aggressive cam profile when you rev it out. Kind of VTEC-ish. The result is about 180 horsepower at 7,600 revolutions per minute, which might not sound huge today, but honestly, it's more than enough to have fun, especially when it redlines past 8,000 revolutions per minute. It's a tiny, high-revving motor that absolutely loves living at the top of the talk. And the 2ZZ-GE is the same engine Lotus used in the Elise and the Exige, which should tell you something about how good it is. Toyota didn't stop at the engine. They gave the XRS stiffer springs and dampers, thicker sway bars, 17-inch wheels, four-wheel disc brakes, a helical limited slip differential, and a 6-speed transmission. Even the steering got the sporty treatment, with firmer assist and quicker response. It's heavier and more direct than a base Matrix. I always thought the Toyota Matrix was a very boring car with a very cool name. All I knew was that it had a 120-volt plug in it, so you could plug in a blender, which they actually do. They're very cool and extremely affordable. There are a few on the marketplace in my city right now, most around $5,000, and one listed at $1,500, though the owner notes that, quote, rats chewed the harness. So yeah, and if you're watching this thinking, you know, I like this car, but I wish it looked more like a Pontiac Aztek, you're in luck, because the Pontiac Vibe GT is the exact same car with slightly different bodywork, slightly more Aztek, final gen Lancer Ralliart. You want an Evo but don't have Evo money. You want an Evo but don't want to deal with the social baggage that may or may not come with owning one. You want an Evo but don't want to smell like gas and have your fillings rattled out of your skull. Well, do I have a car for you? The final generation Mitsubishi Lancer Ralliart was essentially a middle ground between the standard, kind of boring Lancer and the full-blown Lancer evolution. Cool but very popular, and therefore expensive. The Ralliart carries a lot of the same equipment and technology as the Evo, just in a slightly toned-down, much less expensive package. Under the hood is a detuned version of Mitsubishi's turbocharged 4B11T 2-liter inline-4. The same basic engine found in the Lancer Evolution X, making about 237 horsepower and 253 pound-feet of torque. That power hits the ground through a simplified version of the Evo 9's advanced all-wheel drive system. It's got everything except active yaw control, but it does have an active center differential with different driving modes that adjust torque distribution front to rear to improve traction and handling in different conditions. Modes called tarmac, gravel, and snow. Those are the conditions you'd find in rally racing, which is an art, hence the name Ralliart. It's got stiffer springs than a standard Lancer, bigger brakes than a standard Lancer, plus some lips, spoilers, and badges. The one downside is it's dual clutch only. You can't get it with a manual. I know, paddle shifters only, I know, which is a bummer, but honestly, for some situations, automatics are totally acceptable. Dare I say preferred. If you want a car to drive to work with all-wheel drive and a turbo, and you'd like to give your left leg a break while sitting in traffic, this car is cool. It's practical, it's cheap, and it is wildly underrated. Again, part of being cool is being willing to admit you think things are cool that other people might not be ready to admit are cool yet. Acura TL Type S. I like these cars so much that my stepdad had one, and I still like them. I think these are so good looking. Just a nice, classy luxury sports sedan from the tail end of the golden age of Honda. The Type S was the performance version of the TL, powered by the J35A8, a 3.5-liter V6, a stout, extremely simple aluminum block, single-cam motor with VTEC, producing about 286 horsepower and 256 pound-feet of torque. That's a noticeable jump over the standard TL's 258 horsepower, which is nice because a lot of times car companies just glue extra letters onto the back of a car, and it doesn't add any real power. This one adds a decent amount. That power went to the front wheels through either a 5-speed automatic with paddle shifters, which we've established are fine, or a close-ratio 6-speed manual. The manual version included a limited slip differential to manage torque and improve corner exit traction. It's a Honda, so it's got double wishbone front suspension and multi-link rear, plus Brembo front brakes. This thing could go 0 to 60 in a little over 6 seconds, putting it right in the mix with a lot of Mercedes, BMWs, and Audis of that era. But what makes the TL better than those is how it blends that performance with golden era Honda durability. The J-Series V6 is famously durable. known for going well over 200,000 miles with routine maintenance, because it's simple and has strong internals. These things look really cool, handle really well, have nice interiors, and they're pretty cheap. Cool cars. Anything with a 3.0-liter V6 TDI, Audi A4, A5, A6, A7, A8, Q5, Q7, Q8, the A6 Allroad, Volkswagen Touareg, Volkswagen Phaeton, Porsche Cayenne Diesel, Porsche Panamera Diesel. What do they all have in common? All of these cars became an interesting used car bargain, largely because of a little thing I like to call diesel. The 3.0-liter V6 TDI engine was used across a bunch of Volkswagen, Audi, and Porsche models, and was found to have software that altered emissions behavior during testing. Oops. After the scandal broke, Volkswagen and Audi were forced to buy back or modify thousands of diesel vehicles in the US. So a lot of the diesel Porsches, Audis, and Volkswagens from this era that you see on the market today were reacquired by the manufacturer, repaired with updated emissions hardware and software, and resold with extended warranties. That situation created some hidden value in the used market. These are high-end luxury cars with nice interiors. They look great, they have all-wheel drive, and a 3.0-liter turbo diesel V6 producing around 240 horsepower and 428 pound-feet of torque. They pull like a tugboat and get 30 to 40 miles per gallon. And because of the emissions scandal stigma, resale values are in the toilet, which is why you can often buy any of these for a tiny fraction of the original price. They're really well engineered, a lot of people don't even know which years were affected, and the Dieselgate issue itself was all fixed. Value. Altima SE-R. Now, based on my personal experience, Nissan Altimas are the fastest street-legal cars on the planet. I've often been driving on the interstate when, out of nowhere, a Nissan Altima blows past me in the right lane, going well over 200 miles an hour with a foot hanging out the window. Well, the Nissan Altima SE-R is the fastest version of the fastest car on Earth. It follows the same theme as the other hopped-up commuter cars in this video. Bigger brakes, stiffer springs, a more powerful engine. In this case, it's the VQ35DE, basically the same engine from the 350Z. The Altima version makes 260 horsepower, 20 less than the Z, and while the Z is rear-wheel drive, all the power in the Altima goes through the front wheels via a 6-speed transmission with a helical limited-slip differential. This is a very cool, under-the-radar car you can get for a great price. This might be the best car on the list. This next one is the best car on this list. It's a favorite of mine, the E90 BMW 330i. The E90 330i was only built for 1 year, in 2006. I said at the start of this video that I don't think a lot of these cars are ever going to be worth money or become collectible. This is not one of those. One of the most iconic things on the entire planet is a naturally aspirated BMW straight six, and this is sort of the end of that era. It sits at a really interesting moment in BMW's history, right before turbocharging took over everything. Under the hood is the N52, a 3.0-liter naturally aspirated inline-six, an aluminum magnesium block engine with double Vanos variable valve timing and Valvetronic variable valve lift, basically double VTEC. It makes about 255 horsepower and 220 pound-feet of torque, and just like basically every BMW inline-six, it's an awesome engine. Smooth, loves to rev. You could get it with a 6-speed,